All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now live on YouTube, Twitter, and sportnarium.com/player. We're getting a two for the price of one here tonight when it comes to our friends over at Wrestling Championship Entertainment. And we are certainly getting ready for Ring of Destruction. Vindication 2 literally just passed. I watched it a few short days ago, and these guys are going to talk about that, especially our guest here. We're going to hear from the first time. That is Dash Andrews, and Dash Andrews got a lot to say here. You've certainly been somebody that has been a staple of things here in WC in the past, and he's also part of, I guess you might want to say, a commercial that's kind of made the rounds here, or a WC sort of infomercial that's made the runs here on Facebook and elsewhere. And also, with him here, his newfound alliance is Prince Charles, and Prince was here in the main event at Vindication 2 against Craven Rage. We'll talk all about that, what he had to say about his experience against the all-out champion. But these guys need no further introduction, but because we're live and some of them are here for the first time, they're going to get the usual introduction. So with that, without further ado here on the Sports Up, the number one, the Sports Up. Stars here from Wrestling Championship Entertainment. That is Dash Andrews and Prince Charles. Fellas, how are you tonight?
Cool.
Yep, doing just fine, Tom. Thanks for the introduction. It's pretty nice.
Okay, well, obviously good stuff here. So, obviously, I'll get into the situation with Craven Rage and Prince Charles in a second, but because I have two for the price of one here, I kind of want to set the tables for those that are listening and watching here on Sportswire Radio and why this alliance between you guys? I mean, I'll go with Dash Andrews first, because this is the first time we actually formally had you here on Sportswire. So set the tables first and why this alliance and where it all started and where do you guys expect to go?
So, kind of this alliance actually began, let's say, the year of 2014 when we first met. But going into WCE, we kind of were a little seeing different eye to eye in a way. He didn't really want to wrestle. I did. So, over the course of WCE, we had this little, comedic kind of rivalry going where I would come out, wrestle, he'd be there commentating, and make some little, remarks, teasing him about I'm in the ring, you're not. But basically, it actually really started because of really Craven Rage. Prince Charles, big fan of Craven. It just came to the point where I lost to Craven back last
Yes.
season.
Yes.
So it was just basically, since I lost, and I don't know. It all started there.
Okay, so I got all that. So I guess we'll kind of parcel some of this out shortly. But Prince Charles, obviously, you certainly, in a way, were the Craven Rage booster, the Craven Rage. I mean, can I put this in a nice way? Almost like the Craven Rage #1 fan. And you certainly found out that he ain't no fan of you, but we'll get into that. But why this alliance and anything different than what Dash Andrews added here is those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio.
Well, frankly, Dash is right. We knew each other, was friends in 2014, but we kind of did have a falling out last year when we started in WCE. We secretly had a falling out, and wrestling wise, I hated him. Let's just say that I hated him, and I was a big Craven Rage fan, and I couldn't wait to take him out like it was garbage. But during the season, he impressed me so much, and he proved me wrong that later on we seen eye to eye. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Secret. how much of a Craven Rage fan I was. If he actually won against him, I wouldn't even care.
Well, listen, you definitely loved Craven Rage here, and people have tuned in here. Sean Jovi, the resident rock star, our RCW Underground champion, says hello. Omen Black, who's going to be my guest Friday from the IMF Who Are These Clowns? Well, we'll find out. I mean, hopefully you guys give us a little more than what we've heard so far. I think he meant Craven Rage. I'll move on from that. Skulls is in the house. Skulls is another guy that's supposed to be making his debut to WCE on July 8th, so maybe you'll get a chance to meet Skulls. But I mean, I would say in a lot of ways, the two of yous maybe are similar, and and I'm going to say this as maybe diplomatically as I can. You guys haven't had the top tiered success, let's say, that a Sean Jovi has had, or a James Marshall has had, or a Craven Rage, certainly. So maybe there's a mutual goal here, and that to align yourselves, that can kind of maybe bring you guys into that category where maybe you guys could be looked upon as guys in WC that we could look upon as being big players, because really, I mean, in WC so far, I would say the results show that you guys haven't been in that top level discussion. So what do you say to that, Dash Andrews?
I mean, you're not wrong. And actually, me and Prince Charles, after I lost to Craven, we actually did talk about all of that, saying, I've had my opportunity of being golden ticket holder just to lose it. Never had a title shot opportunity except for that open challenge that was it James Marshall did last season.
Yeah, James Marshall. Yeah, he did the open challenge.
Yeah,
we talked about that
other,
last.
other than that, there was really no championship opportunity I had. My only really opportunity was against Craven. And then, this season, Prince Charles lost to Craven Rage.
And it lost you. Honestly, it wasn't like, okay, I mean, Prince had his moments, but I mean, Craven beat the snot out of you, Prince. I mean, he beat the snot out of you. I mean, listen, it is what it is. I mean, I wasn't in the ring, right? So what do I know?
Okay.
But go ahead. Jump
Can
in.
I respond to that? First of all,
you can certainly respond to that.
If you're talking about him giving me 2 low blows as beating the snot out of me, then I guess be my guest.
Because the first half of the match, I mean, it really wasn't much of a match. I mean, certainly, yes, you had your moments. You came in there, but even after the match, I mean, Craven basically, you talked about taking garbage out like Craven. Well, the way he ended the match in Adonis Velios, I mean, you were the garbage pretty much. I mean, the match was what it was. I mean, it wasn't, let's say, a Sean Jovi Craven Rage war. It wasn't even a James Marshall Craven Rage war. Yes, you had your moments. Yes, you were low blowed, but the end of the match certainly left it where this is where we come back to you guys tonight, where maybe you guys align, and maybe that could prevent a situation where, let's say, both you guys in these 2 seasons haven't had maybe that luck, but now maybe combined forces, maybe that changes things where, you know what, you guys watch each other's backs, and that doesn't happen again. What happened with Dash last year with Craven? And people, let's say Sean Jovi, and what happens with Nicholas Crenson or a James Marshall? Maybe those are people that, you know what, with mutual alliances, maybe it's a different outcome. What do you guys say to all that?
Dash, can you answer that?
I've been in this season. I mean, not this season. I've been in this company since the start. Prince Charles when they came in last season.
Right.
So technically, we have something to prove for sure.
That's a good thing sometimes. But you know what? Sometimes that's a good thing because in a way it motivates you. Sometimes you kind of get your backs against the wall. You see it in sports, right? On Sportzwire, we speak with a lot of college basketball players, a lot of college coaches. And sometimes I'll speak with these players and coaches, right? And I'll ask them, well, how do you feel when you're in that moment or you're in that element where you kind of looked at as maybe you're not that favorite player or, everybody's picking you to win. And sometimes maybe that, that kind of leads you guys. It kind of gives you almost that force, that, I guess, to quote one of my analysts on Sportswire Radio, that brute force to say, you know what, frig what I'm saying, frig what everybody else, and almost try to go up in there and have the success that we haven't seen so far from you guys.
Well, as my shirt says, Dash versus the world. Last season, I had the fans, all the support I needed, but when it came down to it, no one said anything when I lost. It was all Craven. Nothing about Dash. Nothing. Not even during the off season.
Right.
Even when I came back, not much.
Well, you know what? And I have to say, and I'll get to Prince Charles in a second as we're here on Sportswire Radio with Prince Charles and Dash Andrews, superstars from our friends over at Wrestling Championship Entertainment. Please give them a follow on YouTube at WCE Heat, Facebook at WCE Heat, and WCEHeat.com as the guys are getting ready for Ring of Destruction. Dash Andrews is going to be in action against the Man O' Masters, Tyler Ark and Zombaronis. I believe I got it correct. And we'll talk about that with Dash here in a few minutes. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. But, I think about it. And I think about during the offseason, right? We had all these wrestlers from the company. Prince was one of the people that we had on. We even had Tyler Ark, your opponent, Adonis Felios. But you weren't on Sportswire during the offseason. You were kind of one of the guys. I mean, Kodak Kid even came on here periodically and talked about the injury update. But Dash Andrews, you were kind of like left to the side. You weren't a thought of, right? I mean,
no one even bothered to mention Dash.
You didn't come up much. I got to be honest. I'm thinking about it during all the interviews we did during the off season from November to April. You didn't come up, if at all.
It was like I was a step down, thrown to the side, and just another Craven Rage victim.
Yeah, you were mentioned maybe in that category. But, Prince, is it fair to say that maybe backs against the wall, you guys maybe align, and that's the path? I mean, even looking at you right now with these kind of mannerisms that you have, maybe there is this pent-up rage, no pun intended or pun intended, and maybe it fuels you guys. Because, again, like I said, sometimes in sports, I have on these different coaches and players, and that's what they tell me. Do you feel that way? I mean, what's your thoughts?
Well, like I said, if it takes between us to team up to be on top, then so be it. After all, and who knows, maybe if I did side with him instead of being a Craven Rage cheerleader, lucky charm, I should say, who knows, maybe Dash would have won.
Do you regret being a Craven Rage cheerleader? Because you were like the Craven Rage lackey almost. I mean, you were and he didn't even want a lackey. I mean, you were like Craven Rage, even on commentary throughout this past year plus he's been his champion. I mean, when you were on commentary, it was pretty much like, yeah, Craven Rage is number one. Craven Rage. I love Craven Rage. And he didn't seem to really want it almost. I mean, do you regret your appreciation and support of Craven Rage?
Well, as far as regret goes, I don't know about regretting that I was a fan, because a part of me still respects him.
Oh, you gotta respect him, right? He's been champion for over a year. Even if you like or
gotta
don't
give him respect.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen
of the way he does things. But as far as friends goes, all out the window. As a baseball out of the ballpark.
No, there's no question that I would have to think now it's out of the ballpark, because Craven, after what happened, certainly we're going to go forward here, but that's Adonis Felios' problem. I'll come back to the match here. Let me get to some comments here. Actually, that's a good one here, Dash Andrews, because I kind of mentioned Tyler Ark and the Man O' Masters, who I guess is kind of also trying, right, a new look. He's trying a new way, a new light, if you might say, with Nicholas Crenson. Nicholas Crenson, you want to talk about back against the wall and guy who's pretty much got everything on the line here riding at Ring of Destruction. We're going to talk with Nicholas Crenson, by the way, Thursday night on Sportswire Radio. So he's going to be in your chair, gentlemen. So I'm sure Crenson will certainly have something to say as always. But, I mean, what are you expecting here in this triple threat match coming in, Dash Andrews? Because I kind of think this is the prove me match, that maybe this is the start. Ring of Destruction is the start of where now Dash and Prince the Dash Prince alliance goes along and maybe has the fortunes that you guys have certainly lacked here. So, what are you looking for here when it comes to your opponent, Tyler Ark?
Honestly, with this whole vector stuff going on, I can, kind of feel there might be some vector shenanigans going on.
Really?
But, in all honesty, he can bring who he wants. Not really afraid. Wasn't afraid when Craven came. So, he can bring his entire vector.
Well, I mean, I would imagine Mr. Crenson's going to be focused solely on. You want to talk about backs against the wall. I mean, Crenson's basically championship. He'll never be a champion, literally ever, if he doesn't beat Jovi. So Crenson's got his own. I don't know if Crenson's so much focused on this match. Certainly, Zero Deus could be a guy to keep an eye on. But I mean, for you, Prince Charles, go jump in, Dash. Go jump in.
I mean, think about it. Nicholas was the one who brought Ark into his vector.
Yes.
So why wouldn't he be there in his corner?
Because I think now, after the way things unfolded at Vindication, this is just my thought. Now, I don't know, right? Obviously, I'm not there. We'll find out certainly and get the aftermath of this whenever this occurs. But my feeling is that Crenson, with the stipulations for what they are, I mean, he has to solely be focused on the fact that this is it for him. I mean, he's been considered. I mean, you guys may have this not the success that we would have hoped from your sakes, but Crenson's been the ultimate big game choker. I mean, he literally can never be in the big game again. I mean, we've compared him to the Buffalo Bills of losing 4 straight Super Bowls. We compared him to the Atlanta Braves in baseball. You could throw in the Boston Celtics lately in the NBA. How many times they've been to the conference finals? How many times they've been to the finals and done nothing? I mean, up until recently, the Vegas Golden Knights have been to, 3 conference finals, 1 Stanley Cup, and they haven't won anything. So he's right up there in his own league, Nicholas Crenson. So Nicholas Crenson, I feel like, at least psychologically, he's got those issues. But, maybe I know maybe you know something that I don't know, Mr. Andrews.
I mean, he brought Ark into his little faction. I would assume you would try to help him a little bit, at least, tell him what he needs to do. Well, but I know Crenson needs to work on his match, but it's all about a plan,
There's always
got to think about that.
Crenson's always diabolical. But I mean, Prince, you're watching this match here from afar. Obviously, you were in the main event at Vindication 2. And I mean, what's your expectations here in a match like this? Tyler Ark is obviously got this new found fortune, you might want to call it, with Vector, and you've got Zombaronis here in this match. I don't even know what to expect from this. I mean, he might be the total, or might even be he. It might be a thing, a zombie, who knows what. I mean, this might be the total wild card of the entire show. I mean, what are you thinking here from afar, Prince Charles, on this?
As far as Tyler Ark and the Vector or Hector or whatever they want to call them, as far as they can go, to be honest with you, I really don't care what they do. They just better, as far as I'm concerned, Ring of Destruction 2, they better stay out of mine and Dash's way.
Okay, well, we'll certainly find out. And by the way, before I get to comments, I noticed, Prince, for those that are listening and watching, would you want to explain the, I guess, the comb in your head? It looks like a hairbrush almost / comb. Would you want to? Yeah.
This is a pick.
Oh, yeah.
It's a pick because I want to actually look professional, unlike some people.
Okay, duly noted. I'm not one to talk about being professional because I almost never look professional when I do these things on Sportswire. In fact, I'll even make you guys chuckle. I went to a wake today for someone I knew that passed away. I didn't know them, but I knew somebody's loved one, and I came in a WCE shirt and shorts. So what do I know? But hey, at least I was supporting the company. Got to give me that. At least I was supporting WCE. So certainly management's out there. They got to be happy. I mean, Skulls makes a point. I guess I'll spend one more minute on this, Prince. I mean, I don't even know if I go this far. I don't know if you were a Craven Rage puppet. I think Craven Rage cheerleader was a better term. I mean, what's your thought? Yeah, I didn't think you were a puppet. I thought cheerleader, yes. I thought certainly blatant partisan homer would have been, but I still have to think going forward, regardless, that you ain't going to be a Craven Rage cheerleader no more. Respect, sure. I mean, everybody respects who they go in the ring with.
Yeah,
but
and that's, you know what? Let me just tell you this: the comment right there.
yeah,
That's another thing too. That's all I was known last year. You think that's going to get me anywhere? Being a lackey, being somebody's lackey that probably, to tell you the truth, probably I don't even know if he respects me. It's like the old saying, you never meet your heroes in real life.
are you saying
Because they
Craven
turned
Rage?
out
Are
somebody
you
who
saying
you
he
never
was a
met.
hero of yours, Craven Rage? After what he did to all these people in WC, I mean, we all respect him on Sportswire. I mean, but would you say he was a hero of yours? Did I just hear that correctly?
He was a hero in the sense that he got the job done. He won his matches. He took his title and he went home. Period. That's end of story.
I mean, Roman Reigns has done that. I don't know if people would call Roman Reigns a hero. Certainly, Mr. Rage has done an impressive number on opponents, and you guys are obviously on that list of opponents that Craven Rage has conquered. So, I mean, those are fair points here. But, let's come back to the triple threat match here that you're a part of, Dash, because I feel like here a win does, in a way, propel you guys maybe to that start of, you know what, okay, let's take you guys seriously. Forget the jokes, forget who's the cheerleader, forget the puppet, the garbage comments, all that stuff. I think it gets thrown out the window, especially with a win here, and a convincing win. Dash, I would say your biggest, I think, asset has been in WC, from what I've seen you, is your ring ability. So I think your ring ability could certainly be the propeller to where you need to be. And do you feel like then a win here and a convincing win at Ring of Destruction kind of springboards you guys to where you guys want to be? I mean, give me your thoughts on that.
If I win this triple threat, I don't really think it really means anything, honestly. I think the actions that I do in that ring to prove that I'm mean business is all that it takes.
Right, but wouldn't you want to win?
Yeah, a win would be nice,
I
But
mean,
you
you
gotta
want
think
to
about
win, right?
all
You're
the
coming
factors.
on here to Sportswire your first time, and you're telling me, a win. I don't know. I mean, no, you got to win. I think you got to win here. My opinion is you got to win because Tyler Ark has got this alliance with Crenson, right? Crenson is almost like he's got Robert De Niro Cape Fear-esque thoughts right now. So who knows what kind of mindset you have Tyler Ark in right now. Then you've got this new guy, correct me if I'm wrong, Zambaronis. I don't even know what the scouting report is on this guy. So I feel like in a lot of ways, you do need a win here. You got to beat these guys, and you got to beat them convincingly because they're going to look to do the same thing that you might want to do to them, and they're going to make a name right off you, and especially a guy like Tyler Ark, who was supposed to have squared off with Marshall for that interstate.
There's a lot of different factors that go into this type of match. No one has ever seen Zambrunas compete. Who knows what he could do? And then you have Tyler Ark and the Vector stuff, taking effect. But I probably will have a plan going into this. I got Prince Charles. Prince Charles might come help me. I don't know.
We'll have to find out, right? We'll certainly have to cheap plug here, but let me get to some more comments before I get to Prince Charles. I want to give a big shout out to the good guy, CJ Black, who is from our friends over at ROEW Backyard Wrestling. Please give them a follow on YouTube and Instagram at ROEW Backyard Wrestling. He also talks about the fact that Roman Reigns is a good guy. Now, certainly Mr. Reigns has been a good guy in the sense that he's been a champion for over 1,000 days, similar to a Craven Rage. And Omen Black certainly congratulates Mr. Black. Obviously, maybe those guys work together. We'll have more IMF coverage Friday night, right before their huge show coming up the next day. So a lot of IMF coverage in the works, a lot of WCE coverage in the works. Please follow our friend at the IMF over at IMF Wrestling. That is IMF_wrestling on Instagram. IMF Wrestling 666 on YouTube. The guys have over 1,000 subscribers. Keep supporting them. We support our friends here on Sportswire Radio, including Wrestling Championship Entertainment. So, Prince Charles, obviously you were in a match like this, and I could understand it was your first main event for a title match. So let's try to take the positives here. Let's take the positives from what you did in that match, because you did definitely show that you had something. You had some heart. The promo before the match certainly showed that you had something. You brought something to the table. Maybe it's a new Prince Charles. So how do you take away what you learned from that match against Craven Rage to go forward here the rest of the season? Because we have plenty of matches left, plenty of opportunities to prove yourself. So how do we work with this?
The only positive that I could think of right now is basically, hopefully, people will know who Prince Charles is, and when he's in the ring, you don't take me lightly or take me easy.
Okay.
And to go back to that, sorry to mention this, but to go back to the garbage thing and putting me, and for him to say he's going to put me in the hospital, I'm going to do a breaking news in the hospital. Look at my neck right here. You see a brace?
No, no, sir. No, sir. I do not.
Look at my wrist. Is it broken?
Uh,
Shoulder, bones, anything?
well, you could be sprained.
Am I in a hospital right now?
Well,
No. I'm
were
still
you in a
here.
hospital
I'm
though
still
after this?
alive.
Well, you are alive.
Still alive and kicking.
But there is a point. Now we don't know. We don't have medical proof. Now we don't have access to the doctors in the Wisconsin area. But that following day could have been, you could have went to an ambulance for a checkup. I mean, I don't know what, obviously doctor supervision is like, or medical support in WCs. That's a question maybe for Mark Packer. Maybe Mark Packer can answer that one. So I'm going to have to plead the fifth on that one there. But certainly you are looking like maybe somebody that could compete again. So I'll definitely give you that much here. I mean, so Prince, I almost have to ask you then. So you have any advice for Adonis Felios coming up here, the Drip King, the AIW champion? I mean, does Adonis have a chance? I mean, because it looked to me like Craven stomped a mud hole in him even before that match starts. So should the advice be for Adonis Felios, the Drip King, just stay on the streams here on Sportswire, don't show up, and just forfeit? That way you don't have to take a beating that he's probably going to wind up getting? No, or am I missing something?
About this Adonis Filius, I'm
Yep.
gonna, for now, I'm not gonna comment on that.
Okay. All right.
All
Well,
I
you
could
know
just
what?
say is good luck.
Oh,
to
you
you,
know what?
buddy.
I think a lot of people are going to certainly say good luck to him, and obviously we'll have to see what happens. Maybe we're missing something here. I mean, for you, Dash Andrews, and I want to ask you this question because I haven't actually had you on here in the past. I mean, what are your goals now in WC? What are your goals here with where we go with your career in this company?
Hmm. You know, I think my main goal is not to be taken lightly. I want everyone to know just who Dash Andrews is. I want to, be a name everyone remembers. That's really my goal.
Okay, all right, and certainly we'll have to figure that out. Maybe you will. I mean, I almost have to ask you then, in the same way I asked Prince this question. Do you have any regrets in how you've gone about things in your WCE career so far?
I guess my only regret would be watch who you trust.
Okay. I mean, maybe you haven't trusted the people that you should have. Maybe the person that you knew the most is the person you should have trusted. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that would be a point taken. I almost have to ask you in a way, has the new facial hair, is that kind of turning over a new leaf? I mean, we kind of see this more, how can I put it, like mature, more, you know, I don't want to say rugged looking, but certainly more of a different Dash Andrews. I mean, is that any by coincidence for you, Dash, with the facial hair and such?
I'm just starting to look at things in a different light.
Well, let me ask you a follow up for Prince Charles, actually, which will relate back to you. I mean, Prince, have you maybe spoken to Dash about looking at things differently, or maybe this new light that he spoke about? Have you had maybe conversations with him to kind of, look at things differently? Is that a fair statement to make?
Yeah, you can. You can say that. As a matter of fact, may I remind you last year when I interviewed him on Breaking News?
Yes.
Even though I didn't like him, I had to put it in his head that in this business there are no friends and there are no good guys. And that when you step into that ring, you got to do everything you have to do to win matches, and you have to do whatever it means necessary to get it through these fans' heads that you mean business.
You said something about the fans just now, and I think that's interesting because certainly WC fans, as we all know, are like no other fans. The WC
Oh no, they
fans,
cool.
yes, but I want to ask you though, how do you feel about the fans in terms of some people say, I do it for the money, I do it for the gold. Others say, without the fans, there wouldn't be me. So, after what you've gone through, your experience with Craven, now you did earn some respect from the fans. There's no question. I think that the fans of WCE are going to say, you know what? Prince did go, and he spent almost 20 minutes in the ring with him, give or take, with Craven Rage. He had him there at times. I mean, he certainly gave him a match. I mean, what is your relationship then with the fans now?
I must say I appreciate that. I do appreciate the fans because they're the ones who they're the ones who come to the shows. They're the ones who watch on the internet. But like you said, with them respecting me after the matchup, are those the same fans that was saying I was a sacrificial lamb, that I had
Well,
no
we spoke
chance?
about it here. I got to be honest. I'm sure you heard the chatter. We were here, and there were comments. I mean, comments from wrestlers and other companies, other promotions were like, who's Craven Rage faced? Who's Craven Rage beat? So, yeah, I mean, I think that the chatter was not just from the fans, but I think from your peers in this industry, in this business, that basically you were like, how can I put it? And I always use this term for the past 4.5 years. In boxing terms, you were looked at as like Peter McNeely to Mike Tyson almost, a tomato can, a J Brone, a nobody. That's what pretty much you were looked at. But maybe the fans see you differently because they had to see you in action to show that you could put up something, that you could go out there in the ring because, we really hadn't seen in that in depth. Yes, you've won some matches. Yes, you have. I mean, obviously, throughout the end of last season and now, you had done some things, but the fans didn't know, like, how to react towards you. What do you say to all that?
My response is the fans, they could cheer, they could boo, they could do whatever they want. At the end of the day, when I go out there and I do my job, they better at least show a little respect.
Okay, well, we'll certainly find out if the fans will definitely show respect here going forward. And obviously, I want to get to the good guy, CJ Black, who's talking about good guys here. Then I'll get to Skulls here. He also says he's a damn saint. You can always count on me being a good guy. Princess Charles, he says, good guys are boring. It's so much fun being the bad guy. Adonis Felios is here, the Drip King. The man we just mentioned is going to be in the ring against Craven Rage. Now, do I have to ask this question, guys, in a way, even though we like Adonis Felios, at least I kind of like him commenting on Sportswire? Is this the last time we're going to be seeing him on a stream? Because Craven Rage might be preparing for, speaking of funerals and wakes, might be preparing for one for the Drip King Adonis Felios, or maybe I'm missing something.
I mean, was it last time you faced Craven Rage? Ring of Destruction. History is going to repeat itself.
Okay, well, we'll certainly have to find out here. And also, I want to make sure that I bring it to us here on Sportswire Radio Wednesday afternoon. We're back here with more coverage with our friends over at Legendary Backyard Wrestling. Legendary Backyard Wrestling is on Instagram at ND_backyard_wrestling. And we're going to have on their world champion. That is right there, world champion. That is CJ Junt. CJ Junt is going to talk about what it means to him to be the Legendary Backyard Wrestling champion. He's also going to talk about his journey in the business, everything else that he has done. Very excited for this opportunity here. Figure that'll be around, I guess, anywhere between 3 p.m. Central Time and 4 p.m. Central Time, depending on timing and such. Very excited to have him on. You can follow him on Instagram at CJ_Junt, JUNDT99. That is CJ_JUNDT99. Very excited to have him on. He's got quite an interesting journey. Going to talk a lot about his family, his background, legendary backyard wrestling, winning that championship. So looking forward to all of that here. So be back here with us Wednesday afternoon, and that'll be Central Standard Time when I mentioned the aforementioned times with CJ Junt here. But I mean, let me come back to Skulls here. Hopefully, Dash, your name doesn't end up on the soul list. Well, we'll have to see here on that. But I mean, is there targets for you guys? You know, I mentioned James Marshall. I mentioned Sean Jovi / Nicholas Prenton, right? Because we have a title match to decide things. But are there people on the roster that both of you guys say, hey, you know what? That's who I want to use as a stepping stone to where I need to be. Or, hey, those are people that I see similarities with. Those who I want to take out. Do you guys see people on the roster? Because I have a couple of thoughts on that, but let me go to you guys first.
Dash, you want to say?
Honestly, currently,
Yeah.
I would kind of say I was supposed to face Sean Jovi last year. Never happened because of his COVID situation.
Yep, right at the end of the season, correct.
So he still owes me a match. So he's definitely one person that I would like to make my victim.
Now, you want that match, obviously, is him as the RCW Underground Heavyweight Champion. Is that correct?
I'm not looking for his gold, just looking to show that I'm better than him.
But you wouldn't want that to be with more of an underlining for gold? Because think about your career in WCE to have gold, especially that title, because Sean Jovi's been on another level right now. I would say, with all due respect to Craven Rage, to me, the guy that has been the most impressive this season has been Sean Jovi. Sean Jovi, to me, has really been the guy. You think about his opponents. You think about what he's done in title in champion versus champion matches. You think about everything Sean Jovi has done. Sean Jovi's on another level right now. He has shown that he's not just more than the resident rock star. He's kind of matured almost. Kind of like how Bon Jovi went from New Jersey to Keep the Faith, to keep them alive. Sean Jovi's kind of matured in that same way. So, I mean, almost I would have to think, though, Dash Andrews, you would want that match to be more incentivized with the championship on the line, especially because of the season that Sean Jovi has had.
Honestly, I'd rather take the title off of Nicholas Crenson.
Well, I mean, Nicholas Crenson in a championship match is almost like somebody having allergies, you know, in the middle of April and May. It just always happens. He doesn't win in these matches. So, I mean, obviously, you wouldn't want Jovi, though. I mean, the betting man would say Jovi because Jovi's got home field advantage in this match. Also, I would remind you, this is a Jovi match. I mean, I would have to think, though, that Jovi's the guy that actually has everything in his favor right now, and especially after what Crenson did to him in the last show. Okay, no comment? Okay, fine. Listen, we'll move on here from that. Prince Charles, I'll ask the same question I asked to Dash Andrews. Is there opponents or people in the locker room that you say, hey, I might want to go out, and that's a person I want to go as a stepping stone to kind of push me and keep me in that ladder for contention for whatever I might want in WCE?
Anybody, anytime, anywho, anywhere.
Okay.
But I will say the number one, maybe it's the Catalyst.
See, now that's where I said earlier on, because that's a guy, especially thinking how Craven, right? Think about how Craven got into his head, right? We really don't know which person you're going to get. That's the kind of guy could be ripe for the taking. And a lot of people thought that before Vindication 2, that Tyler R could have been the guy to actually take that championship off Catalyst. So maybe Prince, That's your championship that has your name on it.
Maybe. I did say one time at one point that one of my goals was to get that title.
Yes, I do remember you saying that here. You might even said that here on a prior Sportswire interview here. So certainly, those are things that I could certainly see. I do have more comments. Crenson winning a title for Owen Black. Yeah, I mean, he does always seem to fail in the big one. So I mean, it's hard to bet really on Crenson at this point. I mean, so we'll have to figure that out. But I want to go back to something, Dash Andrews, and tell me your thoughts. Because last year you were the golden ticket guy. You held that golden ticket, and correct me if I'm wrong, Darkfire has that this year. So, I mean, you have advice for Darkfire? Because Darkfire, in a way, was kind of like you at times the beginning of last season. I mean, it's this new Darkfire. He certainly got something in the ring. He's got a pep in his step. Maybe it started last year due to Crenson and the whole thing with Jovi. But I mean, what do you say to that?
I would, one thing I did last year was I held back too much. I would say I waited out too long to figure out my spot, my time, and when it all came to it, I had announced that I was going to face him at Fight or Fright, but during that little announcement, it turned out I thought Craven was down. He wasn't.
Yes,
So,
yep, we did speak about that here in the past, and I know with Craven himself, the champion, we actually spoke about that here with him. So that's absolutely a fair point here. And let me get to some more comments while I also pull this up here. We have here Omen Black certainly says a couple different things here about Adonis Felios. I'll move on here. And the champion is here himself. Would you like to hear from the champion? Hello, Mr. Tom Bryson. Hello, Mr. Prince Charles. How does it feel to go from a cheerleader to a victim?
Victim. I mean, I actually feel good. I actually feel good at the fact that you had to take two cheap shot low blows. It took two cheap shot low blows to beat somebody like me, who only had 2-3 wrestling matches before I even wrestled you. So I actually feel good falling victim. But you know what? Who knows? Later on in the season, when we see each other, I won't be your victim. You're going to be my victim.
Well, can I ask you a question on that? And do you expect Craven Rage's run here to be the ruler of the yard, the backyard nightmare, greatest world champion? You fill in the line, fill in the story. Do you expect that to continue here in WC? I mean, it's almost like in WWE. I mean, is there anybody that could really beat Roman Reigns? I mean, we all thought Cody could finish the story, right? But that didn't work, right? You go up and down the list of the roster in the WWE since 2020, and nobody's done it. I mean, with Craven Rage, I mean, is there anybody that you think that could change the narrative and take that title finally off Craven Rage, the backyard nightmare, the ruler of the yard?
Don't really know. Can't really tell you.
Okay.
That's a no comment from me.
Okay, no comment. But you know what? Here, before we get to closing thoughts, as we're here on Sportswire Radio with Prince Charles and Dash Andrew, stars from Wrestling Championship Entertainment, getting you ready for a Ring of Destruction. And Dash Andrews will be in a triple threat match against the man on matches, Tyler Ark and Zambaronis here. I believe I got it right here. Another pack card here from our friends over at Wrestling Championship Entertainment. Please follow them at WC Heat on YouTube. Also, Facebook and at WCEheat.com. And certainly we wish we were on Facebook, as obviously I unfortunately have a temporary block on me from Facebook. So we're trying to stream at least the YouTube link for people to click on. So it is what it is at this point. But we thank everybody that is tuning in here. But, gentlemen, I have somebody that wants to speak with you that was mentioned. is somebody from Wrestling Championship Entertainment. Now, I like to always at least give a disclaimer to some guests, especially newer guests here on Sportswire. Would you like to hear who this guest might be? And it's a champion currently. Would you like to speak to this guest and kind of say hello to him and hear what he has to say in response to some of the things that you had to say or you both had to say about this individual? Would you like this person to come on?
Yes, for sure.
All right, are you sure?
Yeah, let's
Bring
hear it.
him on.
I
All
want
right,
to.
on,
well,
I
you know
want
what,
to hear
ladies
it.
and gentlemen here, backed by popular demand, some might say he is the AIW champion of the world, the Drip King himself, who's getting ready to be in the main event of Wrestling Championship Entertainment's Ring of Destruction against the aforementioned Craven Rage. That is the Drip King, Adonis Felios. Adonis, how are you? And this could be the last time we might see you, figuratively and literally, because we're all certainly wondering what's going to be to make of you against Craven Rage, the Backyard Nightmare.
Well, Tom, this is the most opportunity that I have these last upcoming months here in WCE. And like I said before, at Vindication 2, I will be vindicated.
You did. You did. You did.
The second
But
motion is, second motion
did.
is,
Go ahead, jump in.
second motion was making sure that my redemption is complete.
Okay, let's give you the benefit of the doubt, but what do you make of what happened after the match where Craven Rage literally, I mean, he put a rage against you that you might not be able to fight back against the machine either.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Tom.
Sure.
I had my ass handed to me at the last appearance at Ring Destruction. And Craven came out the better man. I'm going to give him props for that. But he knows I got his one weakness, his one meal ticket. And that is to beat Craven at his own game.
Well, we're going to find out at Ring of Destruction. Obviously, we haven't got a chance to see that out there for the world. So, obviously, we haven't seen that match yet. So, obviously, I wouldn't put the shoe before it's about to drop just yet, because people are out there watching and listening who might want to be able to watch the show haven't got a chance to see it yet. So, I would certainly not, look, you could have won the match for all we know. We'll obviously have to find out, but certainly anything you want to say to these guys here, Dash Andrews and Prince Charles, because obviously they've said a couple of things about you going into this match against Craven, so I give you the floor.
Yes, I do. Since we haven't been properly introduced since last season, let me start by saying this. Greetings and salutations from here, yours truly, the Drip King of Basilios. Let me say this. I have scratched, clawed, and fought my way through the WCE roster, overcoming challenge after challenge. That's what this business is all about. You fought your absolute best, and I did. And you know what I did? What I did? At Vindication 2, I had to bite, scratch, and claw my way up to that #1 contendership for that all-out championship. And you know who they are? Jay Stereo and this year's 2023
Golden Ticket
winner, Dartfire. And like I said, Dartfire, you gave your all in that last match with you. You know what? Kudos to you. You deserve and you earned that golden ticket. So big props to you, man. Big props to you. You reset WCE on fire even more.
All right, well, we'll certainly have to see, and we'll see what you do in the ring, as you'll have your own match here in the main event of Ring of Destruction against Craven Rage, the ruler of the WCE yard, the Backyard Nightmare. And Omen Black said, did he just say salutations? Yes, he did. I'll be sure that when Omen comes on in his spot Friday night, I guess right around basically the same time you guys came on, about 10 p.m. Eastern time, 9 p.m. Central time, but I don't think Mr. Black will be saying salutations to the rest of the IMF roster, or even our friends in DKW. But before I get to closing thoughts here, I want to go to Dash and Prince. Then I'll go to the Drip King first. But Dash Andrews, what do you want to say as your final words to the Mano Masters Tyler Ark and Zamboronis?
Sombronis, Tyler Ark. Prove me that you're going to give me a challenge. Because after this, I'm going to have to come with a plan of how I'm going to win. If that's with or without Prince Charles, because I know Prince Charles has not much on his mind.
Okay, well, we'll have to see. Prince Charles, is there anything you want to say to the locker room or to anybody else, especially Craven Rage, who says, Prince Charles, you did survive, but your spirit suffered in misery after I conjured you?
Craven, let me just say this. You're right that I survived, but you're wrong about one thing. I ain't the story. As a matter of fact, my career is just beginning. This Prince Charles, this new Prince Charles, this era is just beginning. Now, I may not have beaten you at that last event, but you know what? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Scratch that. You won't fool me twice, because the second time, you're going to be my victim. And as far as the locker room goes, cool, you gave me respect. I appreciate that. I appreciate much love. After y'all said I was a sacrificial lamb. So you know what? The match, even though I lost, and the matches that I won against Jay Stereo, just let this be known that that is a notice for all of you. That I am nothing to play with, and y'all need to take me seriously. Take me and Dash seriously.
Okay, well, we'll certainly have to find out. And for you, Adonis Felios, you have any final words for Craven Rage here before Ring of Destruction?
You know, Prince Charles, even though I might not be a bet man, you could have been most likely the uncrowned all-out champion. But I'm gonna give you props, man. You got balls. You got balls. Even after the match, that's what I had to do for you that no other person's ever done before. I took the bullet for you. Rest assure you, anytime, anywhere, even if you're a champion or not, or if I end up being the champion, even if I have to defeat Craven Rage, even if I have to die trying, I'll be sure, respectively, you did first in line for an opportunity of that all-out championship. Guaranteed.
All right. Well, there's an old adage: opportunity knocks. Will it knock and knock, knock, knock for the AIW champion of the world, the Drip King Adonis Felios? I don't know, but these are reasons why, once again, you need to follow Wrestling Championship Entertainment on YouTube, also Facebook at WCE Heat and WCHeat.com. If you like what you hear from us on Sportswire Radio, continue to give us a like and follow on Facebook at Sportswire Radio. Also, sportnarium.com/player. We play music, talk, news, your favorite shows, and we simulcast all these shows along with our Facebook page, even though I am temporarily be blocked online for it seems to be the foreseeable future. But our friend J.R. Wynn, who's probably WC's biggest fan, says, sorry I'm tuning in late. Much respect, but he means much respect to the rest of you guys. But all great stuff here. So let's get to closing thoughts here. Dash Andrews, I want to give you the floor. Obviously, I'm sure I'll be the first of many appearances on Sportswire. I turn it over to you. Anything else you want to plug, share, say? Maybe we'll see you in more Bret Hart-like commercials with Sean Jovi. But I give you the floor and fire away.
Say one thing, Dash, before you.
Go ahead, Felios. Go ahead.
Dash.
What? Adonis, how you doing?
Just fine. I will use that the exchange offer to you in the future.
Okay.
If Charles, most likely to be champion, or if I become champion, my offer remains the same for you too.
Okay. All right. Great stuff. Dash Andrews, let's get to closing thoughts here, please. Floor is
Okay.
yours.
All right. So my closing thoughts. You know, I'm here in WCE. Me and Prince Charles, we're going to make something great between us. And I'm going to walk out at Ring of Destruction a winner.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll certainly have to see if you will become a winner and you will sort of go on the path of reversing your fortunes here. Prince Charles, let's get to you. You've done this before, and the floor is yours.
Closing thoughts is, of course, you don't see me with the all-out title, but you also don't see me in the hospital, and you also don't see me a broken man. You just know that this isn't some schmuck on the commentary. This isn't some schmuck on the breaking news. You're going to get the different Prince Charles. You're going to get the Prince Charles that's going to go out in that ring and give it his all, and it's going to take everyone to school like they were learning arithmetic in their classrooms. So for the locker room, that's your notice. For the fans, you don't have to believe it, because in my honest opinion, seeing isn't believing, but believing is seeing. So you better watch and see what I do, what me and Dash do, because it's going to be electrifying and it's going to shock all of you.
Well, I hope it's a lot more electrifying than some of these comments here tonight. I will say that. Maybe you guys will do more of the talking in the ring than outside the ring. But Adonis Felios, I'm going to give you the floor here. I'm going to give you some closing thoughts. Anything else you want to plug, share, say, be my guest.
This is to Craven Rage. I know he's watching Beneath the Seven Circles of Hell. Craven Rage, I will do everything within my power. I guarantee you, I'm going to do this for not just the fans, but everybody in that WCE locker room. That I am the most unstoppable force in this business today.
Okay, well, you know what? You'll certainly let us know what you do in the ring. I'm sure we'll all get a chance to watch it here
I'm
later
s- I'm
this
s-
week. All
I'm
right, go ahead,
sorry.
jump in.
Let me just add one more thing before we close. Adonis Philios or Philios. Forgive me if I mispronounce your name.
Well, what did they say in school? Was what the deal? What the dealio? That was the line, right? We used to use in school. What the dealio? So what the
Right.
filio? Yeah, right.
Now I know I'm not really a fan of yours, but I do appreciate the fact that you did came in the ring after the match. So as you're going up against Craven Rage at Ring of Destruction 2, just to let you know that my partner and I, even though we don't really pretty much aren't fan of you, but it is our honor to root for you to beat Craven Rage down.
Well, we'll have to certainly find out here. Certainly, we'll see if the energy is actually brought in the ring. And we'll have to find out on WC Heat's YouTube, Facebook pages, also WCHeat.com. You can watch Ring of Destruction. You can also watch Vindication 2 that just took place earlier this week. You can watch all of the WCE shows with our friends Dash Andrews, Prince Charles, and Adonis Felios, our AIW champion, are on. Gentlemen, good luck out there. Obviously, Dash will be watching in your triple threat match. Prince, I am sure you'll be lurking out there somewhere on the card. We'll certainly maybe even hear you on the call as you usually do a lot of the commentary for our stuff here on WC. So the breaking news is we'll be certainly watching this on Sportswire Radio unfold, and I'm certainly sure that Mr. Crenton will have a lot to say Thursday night in his chair, just as we'll always have a lot to say with him and everybody else from the locker room. So good luck out there, fellas, and we'll see what you do, and we'll talk with you, I'm sure, very soon.
Hey, Craven Rage, keep that title warm. Come Ring Destruction, that all title, it's definitely gonna be all mine.
We'll see if it's going to be an all-out night for Adonis Felios, or is Adonis Felios going to be living a backyard nightmare like everyone else here has over the past year due to the run of Craven Rage, the all-out champion? We'll have to find out here. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. If you are on Sportswire Radio, we are back here with live coverage once again Wednesday afternoon. It'll be Wednesday afternoon with the legendary backyard wrestling champion CJ Junt once again. Very excited to be with him. That is CJ Junt, the legendary backyard wrestling champion of the world. Excited to hear his story. Also, Friday have New British Promotions wrestling coverage with Paul Mallins. Paul Mallins will be in the ring against Tommy Rocker for the NBPW title. So very, very excited about that. We'll have to see what Mr. Mallins has to say just days before showtime. And of course, later that evening, IMF coverage. I am sure the WC locker room is going to be watching what IMF has to say, undoubtedly with Omen Black. But thank everybody for tuning in on Sportswire Radio. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. If you're on sportnarium.com/player, you're going back to whatever the regular scheduled programming was. And we'll be back here very soon on the number. Yes, Adonis, one more word because I got to get off the air. What's the last line?
Still
Thumbs
number,
up.
still number.
All right. Well, that was good. You should have said that sooner, though, because we're getting cued that it's time to wrap up. But I appreciate that. You know we're going to be watching your match. So maybe you prove us wrong.
Godspeed, man.
All right. Well, we definitely like that. We definitely are believing in that. Gentlemen, we'll definitely see you guys on the show. And everybody else, please go support WC. Go support these people. They're definitely working their tails off. Thank you. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are on the number one global radio station that is Sports Wire Radio.